Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. Today's little student will be tomorrow's leaders. They will be the future engineers, technologists, entrepreneurs, educators, doctors, politicians, and government servants. Therefore, obtaining quality education is very important to develop human potential, especially in today's global era. However, the issue of morality in our country has increased yearly. For example, the statistic from the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission has revealed that the number of civil servants who were arrested for corruption and other integrity violations has increased by 23.2% from 2018-2019. What is wrong with our education system? If we look at our national philosophy education, it is clearly stated that education in Malaysia is an ongoing effort towards further developing the potential of individuals in a holistic and integrated manner, so as to produce individuals who are intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and physically balanced and harmonic, based on a firm belief in and devotion to God. However, the education system today is more focused on intellectual aspect, while emotional aspect or spiritual dimensions are being neglected. This is because we have put the economic goal as the main priority, which has created unbalanced student development as shown in this diagram. In the context of a higher engineering education institution, we would like to produce graduates in quadrant 4, which is the leading example, who has high intellectual capabilities and also high human values. If we fail to instill human values to the students, the graduates will be in quadrant 2, who has high intellectual capabilities but low human values. This kind of student will use his or her capabilities to manipulate others. In contrast, if we successfully nurture human values but fail to develop the student's intellect, he or she will be in quadrant 3, who has high potential to be manipulated by persons in quadrant 2. The worst case is the quadrant 1, graduate who has low intellectual capabilities and low human values. This is a total failure for a higher learning institution. In this work, we have innovated education model framework, which is called as InMoSD, or Integrative Model Spiritual Development. It is aimed for engineering students' spiritual development through the connection of cognitive and affective learning domains. Cognitive domain, which is based on knowledge from engineering subjects. Meanwhile, affective domain is based on feelings, such as God consciousness, self-awareness, and afterlife awareness. The first affective attribute is God consciousness, which means the sense of God's divine attributes such as His greatness, compassion, and wisdom. The second affective attribute is self-awareness, which means the perception of self-limitation and weaknesses. The final affective attribute is afterlife awareness, which means the realization of this temporary world and the eternal life in the hereafter. The spiritual development happens when the three affective attributes are sensed along the mental actions or process of acquiring engineering knowledge and vice versa. This matching or linking process will create thinking heart and feeling mind. As a consequence, this process will indirectly nurturing human values or virtues which arise from the respective affective attributes. For example, good consciousness will develop gratefulness, patience, and calmness. Self-awareness will develop humbleness, self-control, modesty. Meanwhile, afterlife awareness will develop values of accountability, integrity, and prudence. In general, the model implementation could be divided into 4 stages. The first stage is planning. The second stage is the delivery. The third stage is the assessment and evaluation. And finally, the fourth stage is the continuous quality improvement. At the planning stage, the respective engineering lecturer need to identify and link suitable topics from the existing syllabus with the 3 effective attributes. In this work, we have selected control engineering subject, which is taught for third-year students of mechatronic program in UNIMAP as an example of this model implementation. The God consciousness and self-awareness affective attributes have been linked to cognitive domain during the introduction topic of this learning subject. For example, the lecturer could relate the God's omnipotent or His greatness in controlling the rotation of Earth and Moon, which could not be done by human. Even though they could control and operate machine and devices, as a human, they still have limitation of power and capabilities. Meanwhile, the topic of mathematical modeling, the God's omniscient as the all-knowing, could be emphasized. The topic of mathematical modeling is concerned on the relationship of input and output components of a system, such that the character or behavior of the system could be determined. If we consider ourselves as a system, and our past and future as the component of output and input respectively, God is definitely knows about ourselves and our condition, since He is all-knowing about the past and future of ourselves. For self-awareness effective attribute, the lecturer could relate the topic of sensors. In the field of control engineering, the sensing device is very important. It needs to be clean in order to properly function. In addition, it also needs to be calibrated frequently in order to obtain an accurate measurement. This concept could be related to the self-rectification, where we as a human need to purify our heart frequently, such that we will know the truth and falsehood. Meanwhile, for the afterlife awareness, the lecturer could connect this attribute to the topic of system stability. Since there is an interplay between the time domain and frequency domain of a system stability, it is similar to the afterlife context. Whatever we did or any action in this world will have a consequence or effect in the hereafter. The next step of this model implementation is the delivery stage. The lecturer could deliver lecture or sharing ideas with students regarding how the learning topic could relate creatively to the assigned effective attributes. At this stage, the lecturers and students need to have a good engagement such that the learning and teaching process is exciting. They also may share suitable religious scripture texts or stories that could link with the engineering topics and vice versa. During the assessment and evaluation stage, the pre- and post-lecture survey could be conducted to measure the changes in students' attitudes toward the assigned effective attribute. The student could write an essay or poems to contemplate or reflect from their understanding and experience. Students also could do a creative expression about their feeling using social media, such as Instagram and TikTok application. At this stage, the lecturer needs to prepare a proper rubric for the student performance assessment. The final stage of this implementation model is the continuous quality improvement. All the feedback and students' performance need to be properly recorded, such that it can be used for improvement in the delivery or in the assessment stage. As a conclusion, it is a hope that this model could be an added value to our existing TVET education system in developing a balanced or holistic students. This model framework also could be a guidance for any engineering lecturers who are interested to adopt this model in their teachings. In fact, this model also could be exported to worldwide for the benefit of humanity, especially for IC countries. Note that this work has produced one full research paper article. It has been reviewed recently and accepted for the oral presentation in the International Conference on Islamic Contemporary and Management 2021, ICICM 2021.